Incredible K9 goes beyond limits to save little girl, revealing heartwarming bond in snowy crisis. The snow fell heavy on Maplewood, muffling the world in silence as Sarah hurried through her morning routine at the diner, where the scent of greasy bacon mingled with freshly brewed coffee. Every day, she fought to make ends meet, but her 8-year-old daughter, Mia, was worth every late shift and aching muscle. Sarah's heart brimmed with love each time she watched Mia's laughter dance through their small home, a light against the cold, hard world outside. But today, things were different. A severe winter storm roared in from the north, transforming their sleepy town into a wintry wilderness. With thick flurries swirling around them, the air hummed with tension, and the weight of snow piled high. Still, Mia, with her trademark curiosity, begged to explore the woods behind their home, her voice bubbling with excitement. "Mom! Just a little adventure?" Sarah hesitated but couldn't resist the sparkle in her daughter's eyes. "Stay close," was all she said, giving her a kiss before watching Mia bounce through the door, unaware of the danger lurking beyond the firewood pile. As the hours ticked by, a gnawing worry grew in Sarah's chest. The storm roared louder, the wind howling like a banshee. She called for Mia, but only the wind answered, chilling her to her core. Panic gripped her heart. Memories of their daily joys transformed into nightmares as her voice broke through the storm, calling the name of the child she adored. "Mia! Where are you?" In the chaos, Brutus, the K9 partner of the town's veteran, sensed Sarah's distress. His warm golden coat blended into the winter landscape, but his soulful brown eyes shone with determination. Without hesitation, he bounded toward her. The bond between dog and human transcended the chaos of weather and worry. Sarah wrapped her arms around Brutus as if he were her best friend. "You'll help me find her, won't you?" Together, they plunged into the forest, each step heavy with dread. Brutus sniffed the snow, his instincts guiding him as Sarah fought against the chilling winds. As the howls of doubt crept into her mind, the whispers of their small community chimed in. How can a mother with so little truly care for a child? She could feel the stares, the skepticism that had shadowed her for years, and it fueled her frantic search. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As twilight draped itself over the woods, despair gripped Sarah's heart. Just when hope seemed lost, Brutus paused, ears perked and nose raised. The world fell silent as he bounded forward, bringing Sarah with him. Then she spotted the small figure beneath the snow, her heart leaping in her chest. Mia, emerging from her snow-covered cocoon, was cold but unhurt, a smile breaking out as Brutus reached her first. But their path home was treacherous. The shadows of the forest loomed large. Sarah's heart raced, worry swelling inside her. She cradled Mia's small hand in her own, determined to shield her against the judgments they defaced, ready to fight against the tide of disbelief. As they began their careful trek home, Sarah felt the weight of her world on her shoulders. Would this reunion be enough to mend the rifts in their community? Could love and loyalty defy the stereotypes? The forest settled into eerie silence, and as they stepped toward the fading light, unanswered questions hung heavy in the air, leaving Sarah fighting for hope in the grip of winter's chill. The cold air nipped at Sarah's cheeks as they moved slowly through the thick underbrush, each step taking her deeper into the shadows of the forest. Despite the warmth of Mia's small, gloveless hand in hers, a shiver of panic coursed through her. Sarah glanced down at her daughter, whose cheeks were flushed red from the biting frost. "Are you okay, sweetie?" she asked, trying to mask the worry in her voice with a smile. Mia nodded, but her brow furrowed slightly. "Can we hurry, Mom?" "I'm really cold," she said, her voice barely above a whisper as the wind howled around them. Sarah squeezed her hand tighter. Just a bit further, honey. We'll be home soon. Each word felt like a promise, a shield against the panic threatening to take root in her heart. Her mind darted back to the concerns of the community, the murmurs that haunted her since Mia was born. Could she prove them wrong? It was a cold winter night, but she yearned for warmth not just in temperature, but in the acceptance of those around her. Brutus kept a steady pace beside them, his nose close to the ground, searching for familiar scents that would guide them home. There was a certain calmness in his demeanor, a quiet strength that Sarah desperately clung to. He'd become more than just a dog, he was a beacon of hope amid uncertainty, a reminder that good existed in the world no matter how fierce the storm. As they rounded a bend, Sarah heard a muffled sound. Was it the wind? Her heart jumped, senses heightened. Brutus, what is it? She whispered, her voice catching in her throat. He paused, lifting his head sharply, ears twitching. The dog's instincts kicked in, and in an instant, he took off, bounding through the snow with an urgency that left Sarah and Mia scrambling to keep up. Wait, Brutus! Mia shouted. Sarah followed close, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Was there trouble ahead? What if they encountered something dangerous? Each footstep carried both fear and hope, the hope that they would find help, the fear that they might not. They broke through a thicket, and there, in a small clearing, stood Mr. Daniels, an elderly neighbor. His snow-covered coat was tattered, a forlorn look on his face. Sarah! Mia! He called, relief flooding his voice. I've been looking for you. Mia rushed toward him, her face lighting up with recognition. Mr. Daniels! She exclaimed, her laughter ringing like music amid the chaos. But Sarah wasn't quite relieved yet. How did you find us? She asked, breathless. The lights from your home saw them flickering in the storm. I thought something was wrong, he explained, shivering in the cold. I'm glad I found you before the night fell completely. Just then, the sound of crunching snow interrupted their reunion. Eyes darted toward the forest edge. In the distance, figures emerged, silhouettes against the backdrop of the storm blustering behind them. They were neighbors, friends from the community, their faces a mix of concern and relief. Sarah, we heard your calls and came to help. Shouted Lucy, a beloved figure from the diner who always made sure everyone had enough. You don't have to do this alone. The warmth of their presence made Sarah's heart swell, a contrast to the chill of the winter night. She looked at Mia, still glowing with excitement, and then at Brutus, panting joyfully beside her. Through the snow, the community that had once doubted her now seemed steadfast, united in their willingness to help. As they made their way back home together, Sarah felt a shift within her. Would this moment, the gathering of resolute hearts against the backdrop of the bitter cold, be enough to reshape their lives and her daughter's future? In the coming days, challenges awaited them, but perhaps, she thought, maybe kindness could spark change. What would her life look like if she allowed love to grow instead of fear? As they stepped onto their familiar street, glimmers of hope broke through the storm clouds. But lurking in the shadows was the question of what lies ahead. Would they be able to embrace the warmth of their community, or would the chill return as uncertainty whispered back to her heart? As they walked back through the thickening snow, Sarah felt an overwhelming mix of gratitude and warmth. Mr. Daniels led the way, his familiar voice weaving through the silence of the falling snowflakes. You know, Sarah, the world can feel pretty heavy sometimes, especially on nights like this, he said as they trudged along. But we're all better when we pull together. Mia skipped ahead, darting between neighbors, laughing and shouting joyfully as she played in the snow. Her delight was infectious. Sarah couldn't help but smile. It was as if every laugh pushed away the shadows that had haunted her for so long. Look, Mom. I made a snow angel. Mia danced in circles, her tiny arms flapping wide as she demonstrated her newfound creativity. Nice job, sweetheart. Just don't go getting too far ahead. Sarah's gentle admonition was accompanied by a soft chuckle. It felt good to see her daughter laughing, the stress of the night fading into the backdrop of innocence and youth. Yet, a nagging worry still gripped Sarah's heart. As she watched Mia, she couldn't ignore the fleeting glances and whispers from some of the neighbors. Would they think she was still unfit? Would this display of community help change their minds? Shivers shot through her again, but she pushed them away. Tonight was about embracing the moment. They rounded the corner, and the warmth of their home glowed like a beacon through the trees. The front porch light flickered, an invitation to safety and comfort. But as they approached, something shifted in the atmosphere. "Wait a second," Lucy spoke as the group halted outside their home. "Is that? Did you hear that?" Before anyone could clarify, a faint whimper pierced the quiet night, drawing their attention toward the darker part of the yard. Sarah felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. That sound, that wasn't the wind. Brutus straightened, his ears perked up like radar. He took a few cautious steps forward, nose to the ground, following a scent only he seemed to detect. "Brutus?" Sarah called out softly, suddenly feeling vulnerable again. "What is it, boy?" Without hesitation, the dog shot toward the edge of the property, his focus unwavering. Behind him, Sarah felt a wave of anxiety crash over her. "Stay close, Mia. I'll go see." As she approached the line of trees, her heart raced. The whimpering grew louder, more desperate. The neighbors, sensing the gravity, trailed behind, concern etched across their faces. Together, they stepped through the thick branches, following Brutus deep into the gloom. Who, or what, was making that sound? Was it an animal in danger? Emerging from the underbrush, they stumbled upon an injured creature, trembling and alone beneath a low-hanging branch. Its fur was matted and muddy, and it looked up at them with big, scared eyes. "Ah, poor thing," Lucy breathed out, her voice breaking the spell of silence. Mia gasped, her kind heart immediately drawn to the animal. "Can we help it, Mom?" Brutus approached cautiously, and as he reached the poor creature, something incredible happened. Instead of reacting with fear, the injured animal nudged against him, instinctively knowing it was safe. Sarah knelt down, her own heart brimming with compassion. "Yes, sweetie. We are going to help." As she reached out to the creature, she felt the bonds of community tightening around them, reflected in the faces behind her. They were ready to come together again for something larger than themselves. But in that moment of connection, a harsh realization struck her. She had fought so tirelessly against the tide of fear and doubt within her. What did it mean to embrace change, to step into the unknown with courage? And as they formed a circle around the creature, a spark of determination ignited. Could this incident unfold into something greater, a moment of healing both for them and for the community? With that in mind, Sarah looked around at the gathered friends and neighbors, each face a little less shadowed than before. Could this be the moment she had hoped for all this time, the one where fear transformed into compassion? Yet, even as she cradled the trembling animal, she felt a flicker of something more profound. What other truths about her life were waiting to be uncovered in the following days? Would she dare to invite the warmth of love and acceptance, in all its forms? The wind picked up, swirling around them, carrying with it the scent of something new, something hopeful. But as they stood poised for change, a distant howl echoed through the trees, chilling the air once more. What lesson awaited them next, beneath the surface of their growing bond? The howl cut through the night, a stark reminder of the challenges that might still lie ahead. Sarah's heart raced, her focus sharp as her eyes darted to Brutus. The dog stood firm, a protective stance that put her at ease, but the intensity of the moment wasn't lost on her. Whatever they faced out here was an unknown, yet together they could handle anything. "Everyone stay close," she urged, her voice steady, but she could feel the uncertainty ripple through the group. Mia, who had knelt beside the trembling creature, glanced up. "Is it scared, Mom?" Her eyes reflected a wisdom beyond her years. "It is, sweetheart. But we're here to help," Sarah reassured her, bending down to Mia's level. Remember, animals can sense kindness. Just like we're sensing it right now in each other. Lucy stepped forward, her hands already working on removing her scarf. Let us wrap it up to keep it warm. It's freezing out here. As Lucy approached, the injured creature flinched, but Brutus moved closer, nuzzling against it with a reassuring bark. Almost immediately, the creature let out a soft whine, its eyes slowly softening. I think it knows it's safe, Mia whispered, her voice filled with wonder. Before long, they had formed a small but effective rescue team. The neighbors moved from reassurance to action, gathering supplies. Blankets, warm water, and first aid essentials came forth as if summoned by invisible hands. Sarah marveled at how a simple night had turned into this symphony of compassion. It felt like a dream, a magical interlude woven together by their shared urge to nurture. As they wrapped the creature in Lucy's scarf, Sarah noticed its fear slowly receding. They had created a small bubble of warmth, a sanctuary amidst the cold chaos of the night. It was a beautiful reminder that no matter their individual struggles, they could achieve so much together. But amid the kindness, shadows of doubt crept back into Sarah's mind. Could they extend this sense of community beyond tonight? Could she and Mia truly be a part of something larger? Surrounding herself with these caring faces felt like a step into the light, yet the fear of slipping back into darkness lingered. We need to take it to the vet, someone suggested, breaking her reverie. They know how to help. Right. Let us get it there as quickly as we can, Sarah agreed, feeling a sense of urgency to act. The injured creature had already stirred slightly, its eyes flickering with trust as Brutus stood by its side. They felt each heartbeat, each breath a collective connection pulsing between them. Sarah glanced at Mia, who was brimming with a newfound sense of responsibility. You're doing great, Mia. I'm proud of you, she said, her heart swelling with affection. Just then, as they prepared to move, the distant howl sounded again, louder this time, more insistent. What was that? Lucy asked, her eyes wide with concern. It sounded closer. Sarah murmured, her unsettled heart thumping against her ribcage. Was something or someone in distress nearby? Did the creature's presence stir other unknowns hidden within the snowy landscape? A cold wind whipped around them, but Sarah felt the warmth of her daughter's hand slip into her own. They were not alone in this. Whatever the howl meant, it would not change the bond that they had started to forge not just with each other, but with the innocent soul they hoped to save. As they hesitated, the howling echoed again, sending ripples of fear through the crowd. The night stood still, pregnant with uncertainty. With breaths held tight, they gathered their courage, ready to face whatever lay beyond the tree-line. And in that moment of pause, Sarah realized they were on the brink of a crossroads that would test their newfound unity. Would they confront the lurking unknown? What power did they truly hold when they faced fear together? As the wind carried their questions into the night, she steeled herself, knowing the next step could either lead to deeper connections or darker challenges. Which path would they take? The wind howled again, slicing through the trees with a desperate urgency. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she turned back to the group. Each one of them wore a mask of apprehension, echoing her own fear. We can't just stand here, she said, fighting to keep her voice steady. We need to move. With a nod of determination, the group formed a line behind her. Brutus led the way, his massive frame acting as a shield between them and the unknown. They carefully lifted the wrapped creature, now cradled in Lucy's scarf, and began to make their way towards the edge of the tree-line, where the path to the vet awaited. Mia clutched Sarah's hand tightly, her small fingers trembling as they ventured deeper into the darkness. Mom, do you think the howl is from another animal? She asked, voice barely above a whisper. Sarah couldn't mask the worry that seeped into her heart. Maybe, or it could be something more. She glanced back at Mia, trying to keep fear from her eyes. But we're not alone. We're together. As they moved further from their warm sanctuary, the shadows stretched ominously around them. The moonlight barely illuminated their path, creating a world of silhouettes and whispering winds. With each step, Sarah's mind raced, cycling through dreadful possibilities. Suddenly, the piercing howl returned, echoing in the stillness. Panic surged in the group like wildfire, and a few stumbled in their resolve. "It's okay. Just keep moving," Sarah called, her voice steadying as she felt the fear spreading. "We can't turn back now." Lucy took a deep breath, stepping closer. "It's just the wind. It's just the wind," she repeated, her words more a mantra than a truth. They pressed on, the snow crunching beneath their feet, blending with the rising tide of apprehension. The howls morphed into a chorus, rising and falling like the waves of a storm as the animals responded to one another in the distance. It wasn't long before a flash of movement caught Sarah's eye. A dark shape darted between the trees. "Did you see that?" she whispered, stopping in her tracks. The group froze, eyes wide with fear. "It could be a wolf," Lucy said, almost breathless. "Let us not panic. Stay close, keep moving," Sarah ordered, but could feel her own heart thudding alarmingly fast. She tightened her grip on Mia's hand, then came a rustling from the underbrush, followed by an agonizing whimper that drifted to them through the cold. The creature in their arms stirred, its eyes bright with distress. Brutus barked, a deep warning that resonated within the encroaching silence. "What if it's hurt too?" Mia whispered, her courage wavering but still present. Seeing her daughter's compassion sparked something in Sarah. "We need to help, Mia. Just like we're helping this one." As if in answer, another howl cascaded through the trees, sending a tremor through them all. But it was different this time, filled with a raw desperation that held a deeper story within. "What if it needs us?" Mia asked, her voice trembling but her eyes shining with hope. A flicker of determination spread through Sarah's chest. They had come this far, bound by this new sense of togetherness. "Then let us find out," she said, pulling Mia closer. Just as they moved forward, more shadows slipped out from behind the trees, their forms shifting slowly in the moonlight. Sarah's heart raced. Were they the very creatures this night spoke of? "Stay together," she called out sharply, a boundary drawn against whatever lay before them, with the howling echoing in the distance and the group's breaths mingling with the sharp bite of the frigid air. Sarah knew they were about to step into a realm of danger and discovery. What lay ahead could either solidify their bond or shake them apart as they faced the wilderness and its hidden secrets together. And as they took their next step into the unknown, she wondered, would they find strength in every challenge, or would this encounter force them to confront shades of fear they had never imagined existed? As they pressed onward, the shadows seemed to thicken around them, swallowing the moonlight that offered their only guidance. Sarah felt her heart thumping in her ears, a rhythm matching the wisps of fear that danced around her thoughts. Each howl that echoed from the distance felt like an urgent warning. "Mama, what if we find whatever's making those sounds?" Mia's question hung in the air, heavy and searching. "We'll handle it," Sarah replied, keeping her tone firm. "Just like we're handling everything else tonight." Brutus, who seemed to sense their urgency, padded forward with renewed determination, occasionally glancing back at Sarah and Mia. His presence provided a layer of comfort, a reminder that they were not helpless in a world cloaked in fear. The path narrowed, and the trees began to close in around them, their gnarled branches stretching like fingers toward the sky. The snow crunched underfoot, almost deafening in the thick silence that surrounded them. Sarah could feel the chill of anxiety creeping back up her spine. "Why do we have to go through here, Mom?" Mia asked, her voice small. "Can't we go back?" "No, sweetheart. We're so close," Sarah encouraged, but inside, her resolve wavered. She was terrified, and the story she had always read to Mia about bravery seemed far removed from the reality of that moment. Just then, another rustle broke through the stillness, now much closer. Sarah halted mid-step, eyes widening as her gaze darted to the side. The group followed her lead, straining to listen. Then, out of the shadows, emerged a small, scruffy dog, thin and battered, whimpering softly as it approached. "It's just a dog," Lucy exclaimed, her voice a mix of relief and worry. But the dog didn't seem to notice them until Brutus barked, casting a protective shadow over the group. The scruffy canine turned, eyes darting around like it was searching for something or someone. It let out another small whimper, and before Sarah could stop herself, she took a tentative step forward. "Hey there, buddy," she called softly. "You okay?" The dog, hesitant at first, sniffed the air and then, almost instinctively, waddled toward Sarah. As it got closer, her heart sank. It was clear the animal had been through hell. Its fur was matted, and its ribs protruded sharply beneath its thin skin. "Mia, do you have any treats?" Sarah asked, her voice just above a whisper. "I think I might," Mia said, her fear forgotten momentarily as she rummaged through her pockets. "I saved some from lunch." With a few bits of cheese in her outstretched hand, Mia crouched low, her gentle demeanor disarming even the most skittish of creatures. The dog's eyes softened, and before long, it was nuzzling Mia's palm. "Look, Mom. He's friendly." Mia squealed, her excitement breaking through the tension. Sarah felt a wave of warmth rush through her, the innocence of her daughter's joy cutting through the cold reality of their situation. But even amidst their brief reprieve, shadows still danced in the corners of her mind. A sharp howl sounded again, close enough now that Sarah felt the vibrations in her chest. "We need to keep moving," she urged, watching as the scruffy dog, now drawn to them, wagged its tail cautiously. "Maybe he can help." With renewed hope, the group pressed forward, now flanked by the dog. Each step was a blend of trepidation and excitement, a push against the darkness that sought to threaten their journey. "But what if the howls are coming for him?" Mia breathed, looking up with wide eyes. "We'll protect him," Sarah declared, the rallying cry taking form in her heart. They would face whatever awaited them together, animals, secrets, fears, all of it together. As they stepped deeper into the woods, Sarah could feel the weight of their decision. They had made a choice to find out what lay ahead, and now, guided by a small rescued pup, she realized that they might discover more than just danger. They could find family along the way. What would meet them next in the heart of those woods? Would friendship survive, or would the unexpected test their bonds in ways they never anticipated? The air grew heavier, the atmosphere charged with anticipation. Each breath Sarah took tasted of damp pine and uncertainty. The path twisted like a serpent, revealing a small clearing just ahead, faintly lit by scattered moonlight breaking through the treetops. Yet, the howls echoed again, closer now, merging into a chorus that pierced the night. "Mom, I don't like this," Mia murmured, clutching the scruffy dog tightly to her chest. The little creature's ribs pressed against her, its warmth comforting beneath her fingertips. Even Brutus seemed uncertain, keeping vigilant as he sniffed the air, his instincts flaring. "Trust me," Sarah reassured, forcing a brave smile. "We're not alone. We have each other and him." She nodded toward the newly adopted pup. A flicker of determination ignited in Mia's eyes as she looked down at the dog. "What should we call him, Mom?" she asked, a hint of hope dancing back into her voice. "How about Lucky?" Lucy suggested. "He's lucky to have found us." "Lucky it is," Sarah replied, a warmth filling her heart. The little dog wagged its tail as if understanding the newfound title, squirming happily in Mia's arms, but just as they were distracted by the sweet simplicity of the moment, the howls erupted again, loud and mournful, trembling through the stillness. The joyful spark dimmed as fear swept back into the group. "We need to keep moving," Sarah said, gripping Mia's hand firmly. They started walking again, careful on the slippery surface. As they crossed the clearing, Sarah spotted a shadow weaving through the trees. There it was again, a flash of movement, almost like a dark phantom. The hair on the back of her neck stood up. "Did you see that?" she whispered, her voice shaking slightly. Before anyone could respond, the shadow drifted closer. It was no animal, but a figure, tall and looming, dressed in what looked like a tattered gray cloak. The figure stood still at first, as if watching them, and then began to move with surprising grace, closing the distance swiftly. "Stay behind me," Sarah instructed, instinctively positioning herself as a barrier between the kids and the newcomer. Brutus positioned himself, growling low, a protective stance for his little pack. Who are you?" Sarah demanded, trying to sound brave despite the tremor in her voice. The figure paused, and for a moment, an eerie silence enveloped the clearing. Then, it spoke, soft yet commanding, "I mean no harm. I am simply a traveler, lost like you." "Lost?" Mia asked, her curiosity piqued, cutting through the tension. "Indeed. This forest has a way of leading people astray," the traveler continued, moving closer. The moonlight illuminated the figure's face, a man, weathered but kind, with deep-set eyes that seemed to hold many stories. "But I can help you. It can be dangerous here." "Dangerous?" Sarah echoed, her heart pounding. "We've heard how strange sounds. Yes, the woods are filled with spirits. They protect what is theirs," the man said, glancing around, his eyes radiating a mixture of warning and wisdom. "You must be cautious. Your bond with each other has already caught their attention." The weight of his words sank deeply into Sarah's chest. They were being watched, not just by the howls of the forest but by something more profound, more ancient. She glanced at Mia, who was still clutching Lucky tightly. Sarah knew the bonds they formed tonight were fragile yet powerful. Before she could process everything, a chilling breeze whipped through the clearing, and with it came the unmistakable howl, the final warning. Sarah looked at the man urgently. "What do we do?" "Follow me. Together, we may find our way through," he commanded, starting to turn back toward the trees, heart racing. Sarah exchanged a glance with Mia and Lucy before nodding, knowing they had no choice but to trust this stranger. They stepped forward, deeper into the woods, where the shadows twisted and turned, concealing both threats and possibilities. What secrets awaited them in the dark? Would they find safety, or would they uncover something even more unsettling? The leaves whispered secrets as Sarah, Mia, Lucy, and their newfound companion moved deeper into the woods. The darkness pressed around them, thick and heavy, heightened by uncertainty. Lucky, nestled in Mia's arms, whimpered softly, sensing the tension in the air. Brutus stayed close, his growl now a low rumble as if he, too, was aware of the spirits the traveler had mentioned. "Do you know this forest?" Sarah asked, her voice steady but barely masking the tremor inside. The traveler turned partially to look back at her, shadows dancing across his face, revealing the contours of worry etched into his features. "I've wandered these woods many times," he replied. "But tonight feels different. Tonight, the spirits are restless." His words sent an icy shiver down Sarah's spine. She squeezed Mia's hand tighter. "What do they want? Why are they restless?" "They seek to protect their realm from those who would disrupt it. You must walk softly and speak little. They can hear and see you when you least expect it." Mia glanced up at her mom, a mixture of fear and fascination flickering in her eyes. "Mom, do you think Lucky can help?" Sarah knelt beside Mia, brushing a strand of hair back from her daughter's face. "I think he might. Animals sense things we can't. Just like Brutus." "Then let South keep him close," Mia whispered, snuggling the pup even tighter. Lucky's little tail thumped against her chest like a heartbeat, soft, persistent, alive. They followed the man as he led the way through twisted trees and underbrush, every so often stopping to listen, and then moving on. An uneasy quiet settled over the group. It was as if the forest was holding its breath, waiting. Suddenly, a chill swept through, carrying the sound of the howls once again, this time unmistakably near. "Faster!" the traveler urged, his voice urgent. They increased their pace, heartbeats racing along with their feet. But just when Sarah thought they were gaining ground, she stumbled over a gnarled root, falling forward. Instinctively, she reached out to catch herself, but the earth was unforgiving, and she landed hard. "Mom!" Mia shrieked, fear bursting from her little voice. Sarah groaned but quickly pushed herself up, wiping dirt from her hands. "I'm fine. I'm okay." She smiled weakly to reassure Mia, but the shadows were closing in, and the howls crescendoed, echoing through the darkness, fueling a rising panic. The traveler turned back to her, his expression shifting to concern. "We must hurry. They sense your fear. What do we do?" Sarah asked, urgency biting at her words. The shadows crept closer, fully aware of their presence. "Light your bond to each other," he exclaimed. "Show them that your unity is stronger than their fears." "Together?" Lucy asked, determination igniting in her tone. "Yes. Hold hands. Show them you have no fear together." Breathless, the three of them held hands, forming a circle with Lucky squirming in Mia's arms. Sarah felt a warmth spread among them, a connection that pushed against the darkness. The howls came again, but Sarah stood her ground. "Whatever is out there, we are not afraid," she shouted, her voice breaking through the chorus of howls. The air shifted. The overwhelming sense of danger morphed, even if only slightly. The traveler nodded, a glimpse of pride shining through the concern in his eyes. But then, from the depths of the forest, something stirred, a dark form looming between the trees, its eyes glinting like embers in the night. "Hold together," the traveler commanded as the figure stepped closer, revealing more of itself. It was an apparition, swirling shadows entwined with a menacing silence. Sarah's heart raced as the figure loomed, flickering unpredictably. Was it a spirit, or something far worse? "What does it want?" Mia asked, her grip tightening on Lucky. The traveler raised a hand, preparing to speak to the entity, but before he could form the words, the creature surged forward, casting an oppressive shadow over them. A gasp escaped Sarah's lips. What would happen next? Would their bond be enough to protect them from the darkness closing in? This was no ordinary night, and they needed to know what would happen when their courage was finally tested. Could they face what lay ahead? The shadows shifted, swallowing the dim light that flickered from the traveler's hand. The apparition loomed closer, its presence like a cold wave crashing toward them. Sarah felt her breath hitch, heart racing, as she tightened her grip around Mia's small hand. They were tethered not just by their fingers, but by the unwavering love that flowed between them. "Stay strong," Sarah whispered, her voice steadier than she felt. "We are together. We can face this." Lucy's eyes widened, fear mingling with determination. "What if it's trying to tell us something?" she proposed, searching for hope in their bleak situation. "It might be a guardian spirit," the traveler said, his tone firm but cautious. "It could be testing your resolve. Speak to it. Show your unity." The dark form slowed its advance, shadows swirling in a ghostly dance. A deep rumble filled the air, resonating with a sound that felt almost like a distant heartbeat. Mia's grip on Lucky tightened, and for a moment, the little pup stayed still, sensing the tension. "Together," Sarah said again, looking into Mia's eyes. They both turned to Lucy, and in that moment of connection, a warmth blossomed between them, invincible, even in the dark. "What is it you seek?" Sarah called out, her voice strong despite the fear gnawing at her insides. "We mean no harm." The apparition halted, its glowing eyes flickering, almost hesitant. The air grew still. The howls faded, replaced by silence, heavy and expectant. The traveler began to step forward. "Eliza," he murmured. The name hung in the air, carrying a weight that fell on each of them. "You know her, don't you?" A strong gust burst through the trees, sending leaves spiraling into the air. The apparition flickered. Was it listening, responding to the traveler's words? "There are those who wish to tarnish your peace," he continued, as if coaxing it to reveal its intentions. "We come to protect the forest alongside you." As if drawn by some unseen force, the figure shifted, morphing into a shape more defined. It was a woman, her features ethereal yet regal, cloaked by the shadows that clung to her. An aura of sadness wrapped around her, and Sarah felt an inkling of empathy blossom in her chest. "What happened to you?" Sarah asked, her heart aching at the sorrow that radiated from the spirit. As if awakening from a trance, the spirit's eyes glimmered with a mix of sorrow and hope. "I guard these woods," she said, her voice soft yet echoing in the stillness. "But darkness creeps in, seeking to control what is pure. And those who wander unknowing may fall victim to it. Then we will help," Lucy exclaimed, stepping forward. "Tell us what to do." The woman's sorrowful smile was bittersweet. "Only together can light conquer darkness. You must stand fast in your bond, for that is your strength." For a fleeting moment, the air around them warmed, as if the forest itself breathed in unison. Mia whimpered softly, her eyes glistening with tears, and Lucky looked up at her, wagging his tail in encouragement. "Whatever it is, we'll stand together," Mia announced, her voice unwavering. "We are not afraid." With her words, something shifted within the spirit. The ominous weight of fear lifted slightly, replaced by a shimmering light that seemed to pulse in time with their combined resolve. The traveler took a deep breath and stepped closer, sensing their growing strength. "Then go forth," the spirit of the wood said, her voice becoming clearer. "Guardians of the light, seal your bond, and illuminate the path ahead. Fight for what is right, and you will prevail." As her words echoed, the apparition began to dissolve into millions of tiny sparks, vanishing into the creaking branches above. The air filled with shimmering lights, illuminating their group in a radiant glow. Sarah couldn't believe what just happened, but a fire ignited within her. "Mom! Do you think we did it?" Mia beamed, her face lit up with excitement and hope. "Together, we can face anything," Sarah assured her, a smile breaking across her face as she looked at Lucy and the traveler, their alliance strengthened by the spirit's words. But just as they began to feel emboldened, a faint whisper echoed through the trees, chilling her to the bone. "You have not seen the last of me." What other challenges awaited them? Would the shadows return, stronger and more relentless than before? Sarah swallowed hard, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. The night was far from over, and they had to be prepared for the darkness, lurking just beyond the trees. "Stay together." The words hung in the air like a promise as Sarah faced the swirling shadows. The glow from the spirit had faded, leaving a lingering warmth but also the reminder that danger was still lurking nearby. They couldn't let fear in. Sarah squeezed Mia's hand tightly, grounding her in this moment of uncertainty. Brutus stood resolute beside them, eyes wide and alert. Lucky nestled against Mia's side, as if sensing the tension in the air. Sarah looked around at Lucy and their mysterious traveler, knowing the strength of their bond was more essential now than ever. "Keep moving," the traveler urged, leading the group away from the clearing toward the narrow path ahead. The wind whistled through the branches, and the night felt alive with whispers as they pressed on, bracing against the cold reality. "What if the darkness comes back?" Mia whispered, her voice quivering. "We stick together," Sarah affirmed, trying to sound strong even as her heart raced. "We fought it off once, we can do it again." They walked deeper into the woods, shadows dancing around them. Just then, from the darkness, the distant howls rose again, more menacing this time, echoing with a chilling ferocity. Mia gasped, and for a moment, Sarah felt a wave of despair wash over her. "This can't be how it ends," Lucy said, determination flaring in her voice. "We were given a chance, we need to fight for it." The fire in her tone ignited something in the group. "Together," Sarah encouraged, her voice lifting with strength. "Let us remember what we learned. Our love is a light." Taking a deep breath, they linked hands, Sarah, Mia, Lucy, and even the traveler, creating a circle of warmth amid the encroaching darkness. "We are more than fear," they called together, amplifying their voices against the howls that crescendoed around them. The trees seemed to shiver, and the shadows flickered, as uncertainty pressed in from all sides. But as they chanted their declaration, a powerful light began to form in the center of their circle, a golden glow fueled by their collective love and will. Suddenly, a fierce wind rushed through, a voice mingling with the howls. "You dare challenge the darkness?" the voice thundered. "You are nothing." But Sarah stood her ground, feeling the strength of her daughter beside her, the solidarity of newfound friends anchoring her in place. "Together, we are everything," she shouted. Beams of light shot forth from their united hands, lighting up the shadows around them, pushing against the darkness with every ounce of strength they had. The howls grew into a cacophony, a visceral clash against the light. But the light held firm, absorbing their fears and exchanging them for courage. With a final surge, the shadows momentarily flickered, revealing figures cloaked in swirling darkness. They paused at the light's edge, revealing ethereal faces that seemed to reflect uncertainty. In that heartbeat, Sarah felt something shift within her, an understanding passing between the two realms. "Let us coexist," she called, the words spilling from her heart. "We are not here to disrupt you. We're asking for peace." The figures flickered again, confusion tracing their shadows. And in that moment of unity, clarity punctured through the chaos. The howls faltered, replaced by an eerie stillness. They responded with poignant echoes, contemplating the unexpected plea for coexistence. Each face among the apparition softened, and as the light enveloped them, the howling subsided into a gentle whisper, resonating with a voice that spoke of old fears and new possibilities. It was a plea, a negotiation, a call for acceptance. Perhaps all is not lost. With the darkness retreating, shadows danced but didn't consume them. As the air shimmered with anticipation, the figures began to fade back into the trees, their threat dissipating as the peaceful energy absorbed them. "What just happened?" Mia breathed, wide-eyed at Sarah's side. "I think we showed them love, not fear," Lucy replied softly, still holding the rising warmth between them. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling light seep back into her heart. "We faced our fears and chose unity. We found strength where we least expected it. Maybe the spirit of Eliza heard us," Mia said, a smile breaking across her face. A laugh escaped Sarah as she pulled Mia close and knelt down, the warmth of their moment washing over her like melting snow. "Together, we can face anything, can't we?" Suddenly, the stars peeked through the dense canopy above, twinkling like blessings, illuminating the path home. The air felt different, lighter, filled with possibility. With a newfound energy glowing between them, they turned back toward the way they came, understanding the night held lessons far deeper than the looming darkness they had managed to conquer. As they made their way through the woods, it dawned on Sarah just how far they had come, not merely through the snow, but as a family and community forged in resilience. They would nurture this bond, and with every step, a spark of hope ignited within their hearts. In the light of dawn that awaited them beyond the forest, clarity emerged. "We'll ensure love ties us to one another, in everything we do," Sarah thought, glancing at Mia with firm resolve. And as they stepped back into the safety of the familiar, warmed by their courage and surrounded by the promise of a new day, Sarah knew she had not just saved her daughter that night. Together, they had illuminated the path forward, choosing love over fear in a world that needed it or them more than ever. And so, the new chapter began for them, one filled with hope, resilience, and the warmth of community. They were bound together, forever changed, ready to grow and flourish on the other side of fear. Now, you need to subscribe to the channel immediately. Don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. This is the moment to show your support. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Your support matters to us, true fans.